Left at East Gate by Larry Warren and Peter Robbins. Now, this is part of my UFO book collection, but this is I'm going to tell you what the book, its intended purpose, and then I'm going to tell you what I got from it, because very different things here. So this is about, I believe it's Larry Warren. Let me just double check. Larry Warren, I believe, was the gentleman to which all this stuff happened. And this was published in 1997. So, and I apologize for not being prepared. Oh yeah, okay. So Larry Warren was I believe he was in the Air Force, and he did security in the Air Force, and like the equivalent of like an Army MP. I'm not sure what they call them in the Air Force. Might be MP in the Air Force, but and while he was stationed in the UK, he witnessed this event where something landed just off the base area, or I'm not sure if it landed within their secured perimeter or just outside it or where, but it landed, and a group of guys this whole security detachment went over to check out what happened, and they witnessed this very strange UFO event. And I say event because it wasn't just a sighting of seeing, they saw like it's almost like an acid trip, what he describes, of like this being floating out of the spacecraft and just all these crazy light show and stuff, and really bizarre. And then the rest of the book is all everything that happened to him as a result of that, and the rest of his time in the Air Force, and just trying to decide about writing a book about it, being sworn to secrecy and told don't tell anybody this. And anyway, so that's the story of the book, is his sighting or his experience of this event, and giving all the details. It's a very detailed account, as you can see from the page count. There's a lot of information in here. But the things that I found particularly interesting about this is, again, you have this theme of what appears to be, and I say appears, I'm going to say alleged and whatnot, a possible mind control experiment or something using advanced technology to make these Air Force guys believe they were seeing something. And it almost seems like this was some kind of field test of technology to see if these guys could be, how they would react to experiencing this, and being able to bombard their minds with this very powerful, very surreal experience. It was bordering on a religious experience. So, and then the follow-up to this is really interesting. And I think the experience ends with him like being knocked out or knocked to the ground by one of the aliens with some kind of beam weapon or something like that. But when you read it, it's almost has a dream-like quality, which you'll find in a lot of experiences when people are taking, are being given psychedelic drugs against their will or against their knowledge, when they don't know they've been drugged, and then possibly they're subjected to a certain amount of theatrics. They can be led to believe that things like this have happened to them. He's then interrogated on post at a base at an underground facility, pretty extensive underground facility that, the way he describes it, actually had some kind of subterranean connection all the way out to the sea. And it's all, again, very surreal, because he talks about right before he went into this facility, they gave him something to drink that was some kind of drug cocktail that, again, kind of warped his brain. And so there's several things about that he wasn't quite sure about, if he was remembering it right or not. But I find accounts like this really fascinating because, again, there's this dreamlike quality to it, and this very surreal quality that really speaks to this being some kind of experiment in psychedelics, in mind control, and not necessarily an alien kind of event. And that's kind of my attitude towards the alien UFO phenomenon. I think a lot of this is deliberate myth making and creating quasi-religious kind of events for the sake of manipulating masses so that religion has a very profound effect on people. So if you want to move entire masses of people in a specific social or political direction, having them believe that this has a religious underpinning, an actual divine underpinning, or an alien underpinning is pretty powerful stuff. So I think that anytime I encounter literature like this, that's some of the stuff that I look for, and especially that surreal nature. I've met several people who've had experiences similar to this that, again, are very described like that when they recount it to you, it's very dreamlike, and it's hard to get them to, there are certain specifics that they're just not able to provide, which is a lot of what you typically encounter with psychedelic drugs and hypnosis. So, and just one last thought on that, because there's several authors I've got, not these guys, but there's several other authors that have written books about the UFO phenomenon and about certain things that appear staged, and in some cases where they discovered that something was in fact faked. And some authors will see that and address that information and realize that there was something staged for the benefit of this someone who didn't understand that they were an audience to this. And but they will still go on to say, oh, but I still believe that it's aliens or extra-dimensional beings. Just it was only staged this one time. And that to me is kind of akin to walking in backstage in a magic show and seeing how something is done, and the magician telling you, I know you just saw me fake this cutting a woman in half, but rest assured, everything else in my act is bona fide actual magic. So same kind of deal. When you bust somebody once perpetrating a hoax or using theatrical means to achieve what appears to be an alien encounter, it has to call everything else into question, because if somebody's willing to put that effort into one event, they're willing to do it in all of it. So I think a healthy objective approach to the phenomenon is to realize that there could be a fair amount of theater involved in that. So anyway, left at Eastgate, I think this is a critical part of the mind control / alien UFO phenomenon kind of thing. So there you go.